In November, Austinites will vote on a ballot measure that would increase average school property taxes by $412 per household to help Austin ISD cover its budget deficits.
Jeremy Portnoy from the OpenTheBooks.com website joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, Allison and John Carlos.
Thanks for joining us. Jeremy, how much extra funding will Austin ISD get if voters approve this tax increase?
Well, their budget deficit right now is about $80 million, and this tax increase is going to be worth $170 million. So you'd think that would be enough. But in the end, only $40 million of that is actually going to go to Austin ISD. The rest is going to go around Texas for recapture, which I feel like we talk about that almost every week now, but it keeps popping up. So you've got to remember, when you're voting on this, only about a quarter of your money is going to Austin. The rest of it is going to go to help out other needy school districts.
So how does the district plan to use that extra money?
Half the money is going to go towards teacher pay raises. That's been what they're blaming for this big staffing crisis we're having in Texas. We had 43,000 teachers retire or resign in 2022. That was a record. So the school gave out $65 million in raises, but they still say it's not enough. When we looked at their payroll, it turns out that money isn't distributed so evenly. You've got 325 people at the top making six figures, including the superintendent. He made $365,000, but then the bulk of the teachers are only making about $60,000 to $80,000.
So is this tax increase necessary, Jeremy? And how did Austin ISD end up with such a big budget deficit?
Wants to blame someone else, right? So if you ask Austin, they say it's all Governor Abbott's fault. They say he hasn't increased public school funding since 2019, which is true. He's kind of said that he only will pass school funding if the legislature enacts school vouchers to help out private schools. So when you factor in inflation, school funding's actually gone down by 13%. That's why you've got San Antonio closing 15 schools, saying they might close more. But if you ask Abbott, he says it's all Austin's fault. He says they got the money they needed from the federal government for COVID relief, but they used it to hire new employees. So now that the COVID money's gone, they still have to pay those new salaries, and they can't afford it.
Yeah, so is Governor Abbott right? How responsible?
In some ways, he's kind of got a point. I mean, they promised in February, the district, that they were going to have their budget deficit this year. Not only did that not happen, they actually doubled the deficit. We took a look at their checkbook. They spent $330 million last year on outside vendors. That included $4 million for contracted services, which is the category they said they were going to cut and all those savings were going to come from. So we put in another request to see how much they're paying these contractors by the hour, people like, tutors, extracurricular activities. They still haven't responded to us. Twice they said they were going to give us the records, then they extended their own deadline. So now they say it'll be the end of October. So once we get those, we'll come back and share the info with you.
Okay, stay on top of that for us, because it's not just Austin. I see a lot of these schools, districts in Texas are having those issues. And property tax, hot topic here in Austin. Jeremy, thank you so much for chatting with us.
You can find
I appreciate it.
Jeremy's reports at OpenTheBooks.com. Thank you for being with us.